So it has been a while since I've made a video. Yeah. So for the past couple of months I've been pretty busy doing some stuff on my own, and I actually knew that it was going to be happening, and I didn't let anyone know that I wouldn't be uploading for a while. That's mostly because I thought I could probably get at least one video in. That didn't happen, obviously. So here I am. Yeah, so I've been pretty busy. I haven't really had the time to work on anything related to this channel, whether that be, you know, reading for fun or making a video. So here I am. But the fact that this seemingly dead channel is being brought back to life is actually pretty fitting, because today I am talking about Loki. So recently Disney Plus has been releasing episodes of their new show Loki, and I, being a huge Marvel fan, have been keeping up with it. And I actually had this video planned to possibly try and have it come out before the show came out. That didn't happen, so you're getting it now. Today I'm going to be reviewing the book Loki, Where Mischief Lies by Mackenzie Lee. This is a book focused on kind of a young Loki before any of the Thor movies take place. And I read it back when it came out a couple years ago. I really enjoyed it, and I decided, hey, I'm gonna reread this, try and get it out around the same time that the Loki show comes out. And I mean, it's still coming out, so that counts, right? Loki, Where Mischief Lies came out on September 3rd of 2019. It is by Mackenzie Lee, who is an author who's probably most known for her work, The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, but she has written some other Marvel books after writing Loki, Where Mischief Lies as well. This story begins at a big feast in Asgard where young Loki is causing mischief with one of his friends, Amora, who is the apprentice to the court sorcerer Karnilla. At this feast, Odin and Karnilla cast this big spell on this big magic mirror to look into the future and see what's to come for Asgard. And Odin sees one of his sons leading an army into Asgard, and he doesn't know which one it is, and Loki overhears him talking about it. He doesn't know which one it is, but a lot of people typically tend to assume that it is Loki since he causes all this trouble. So Loki decides to take a look into the mirror himself with the help of Amora to try and see for himself if he's the one who will be leading this army against Asgard. In an attempt to do that, the two of them destroy the mirror, and Amora takes the blame for it, getting banished to Earth for the rest of her life. We skip ahead in time for a little bit, and Loki, after causing some problems at a diplomatic visit, is sent to Earth to go and help this secret society called the Sharp Society determine what is causing these magical related deaths in London. Loki has to help them to try and find out what's causing these deaths while also facing his past and his future and figuring out what exactly is most important to him and who it is that he wants to be. It's basically a coming of age story, but it's about a Norse god. It deals with a lot of themes of predeterminism. Obviously, the world already has some ideas of who Loki is based on Norse mythology, and he has to kind of decide, okay, well, can I make my own decisions? Can I be who I want to be, or do I have to live up to the expectations that people already have of me? And it also has a lot to do with self-fulfilling prophecy, you know? It's Loki kind of questioning who he is and thinking, oh, well, everyone already thinks I'm a terrible person. Maybe I am a terrible person, and kind of coming to grips with that. So some of the things that I really liked about this book, first off, as is common with a lot of Mackenzie Lee's book, we do take a bit of a dive into Loki's bisexuality and gender fluidity. That is both now officially canon within the MCU, which is great to see. And it's great to see all these really great representations. I think it's definitely something that we need more of, is that representation. I think everyone should feel represented in the books they read, and this is a good step for it. There's also a lot of references to the original Thor movies, both Thor, Dark World, and Ragnarok even, there's references to things that we know are gonna happen, and I thought that was really clever to work that into it since it is a prequel. It also has really, really amazing imagery. When Loki goes to Earth, it's set in 19th century London? 19th century? Yes. When Loki goes to Earth, it is in 19th century London, and the imagery that is painted of that very gloomy kind of Dickens London is just, it's really well done, and Mackenzie Lee is great with that imagery. Loki also has a lot of really, really great lines in this book. I remember reading this for the first time and sending pictures of some of these very sassy lines that he would say to one of my friends. It's amazing. I think she captured his personality really well, but also kind of showed off him as kind of a younger version of himself. So he has different priorities. He kind of, you know, digs at Thor for different reasons. It's really great. Also, Loki's personal journey is just really, really interesting. We get to kind of see him deal with the fact that people see him as the bad guy, and he doesn't see himself that way, and he wants to be the good person, but obviously we know based on the movies that he's not, and that's really interesting. Where do you go on the journey of just being the second favorite child to trying to take over the world? There's a lot of steps there that seem to be missing, therapy being one of them. Also, one of the main characters in the Sharp Society that we interact with a lot is this guy named Theo. He is wonderful. Some of my favorite tropes are the very kind of soft, kind, you know, caring people, but who can also be very sarcastic when they want to, and then also the kind of more gruff, sarcastic exterior characters who are actually super sweet on the inside, and Theo is the first one of those. He's super kind, super caring, he's always very welcoming to Loki, even when he's being mean to him, and he's just always there to make a quip right back to him. It's great. I think he's an awesome character. Some of the things that I didn't really like, the side characters didn't really feel that developed. There's a couple of other members of the Sharp Society, Jem and Mrs. S, and they don't feel developed at all. I feel like we don't really know anything about them, and that's kind of annoying to me. We really only focus on our main characters, and they're the ones that are developed, and they're the ones that have personality, and we don't really get that with the other characters. I know that there was an attempt with Mrs. S to show her development as a character and show who she was, but it didn't really work that well to me. Her personality seemed to revolve more around her dead husband than anything else, and it was just, I didn't feel like I could connect with them very well. I also wasn't a big fan of the time jumps. There's a couple of big time jumps. The first being between the time when Amora is sent to Earth and when Loki is sent to Earth. That is the first time jump. The second one actually happens while Loki is on Earth. He's been working with the Sharp Society. We time jump forward a bit and, you know, see him now working with them less reluctantly. I wasn't a huge fan of that, especially the first time jump. The first time jump is part of a section called Part 1, and then the rest of it's Part 2. And it just seemed weird to me to have Part 1 and Part 2 when Part 1 was so clearly like set up for what was going to be something big later on in the book. I just feel like there could have been a better way to integrate it, maybe through memories or maybe through flashbacks, or I don't know. Several chapters were spent on it, and I feel like it could have been condensed a bit more. I don't know, but I just felt it was a bit abrupt and it never happens again, and that kind of annoyed me a little bit, the way that it was formatted. Also, the ending feels a bit abrupt. The end happens very quickly, and then within the ending, everything in that also happens very quickly, and I'm not a huge fan of it. I feel like it could have been fleshed out a bit more, and there's more loose ends that could have been tied up with it. The ending is fine. I think it makes sense. I just think it happens way too fast. All right, well, as always, following my non-spoiler review, I'm now gonna get into some spoilers. There aren't too many. Most of my opinions on this book can be said spoiler-free, so this won't be a very long section, but if you're interested in that, then stick around. If you're not interested in having this spoiled and you would like to give Loki Where Mischief Lies a chance yourself, then I suggest that you jump ahead. I have left a timestamp in the description for you so that you can jump ahead to my final thoughts. Hello, my friends. Welcome. If you're here, then you are here to watch my spoiler-filled opinion, so let's get right into it. I really love Amora in this book. I know that it's supposed to be this big reveal, oh, she's the one who is doing all this, and I didn't find that very surprising, but I did absolutely love Amora. I love those characters who know that they are bad and just don't care. I absolutely love them. I think that she was great. Those characters always have the most fun because they know that they're bad. They do not care. They will do whatever they want. And I thought that worked really, really well for her character. I really, really enjoyed that. I think Theo deserved better. Throughout the entire book, Theo really gets mistreated, and I didn't care for that. I really like Theo, and I know that, you know, the world isn't fair and it makes sense, but still, I don't think it's fair that that happened to him, and I don't think it's fair that Loki did that to him. I think it would have made a lot of sense for Loki to bring him with him to Asgard, and then maybe he gets sent away because he's a human and he's not allowed to be there. And I think that that could have worked really well because then maybe Loki would be even more upset with Odin. I think that could have been very interesting, especially because we see Loki kind of bond with him a lot more. It does make sense for him to betray him because Loki is very self-serving and very self-centered, so that does make sense. However, I think it could have also made sense to not treat him so badly. I touched upon this a little bit in my non-spoiler section, but I wasn't a huge fan of the side characters really just being used as plot devices. One of my pet peeves when it comes to writing is when characters are created solely for the advancement of another character's development. It happens a lot with women where they will be created solely to be killed off to advance the development of another character. And that happens in this book as well. Mrs. S doesn't seem like she has her own personality, you know? Everything revolves around the fact that, you know, her husband and her started this society together, and now her husband is dead and the society dies off with the rest of them. But the fact that she is used kind of as a way to show Loki that Amora is too far gone and that her death is kind of just used to progress Loki is kind of annoying to me. I don't like it when books do that. I don't like it when a character is used solely for their death. Wasn't a fan. Welcome back, my non-spoiler people. So what are my final thoughts? Overall, I think that this book is a really good prequel. A lot of prequels mess things up. A character will learn a lesson that they don't actually learn until a later date, and then you're left thinking, okay, well, did they forget the lesson the first time they read it? Watching Loki devolve into this character who used to think, hey, I'm a good person, I can be whoever I want, into a character who's so dejected with everyone seeing the worst in him was really interesting. It was really well written. For the most part, the characters were pretty well written and easy to sympathize with the exception of some of the, you know, side characters who weren't seen as important. But overall, I really, really enjoyed it. And if you're a fan of Marvel and if you're a fan of very sarcastic one-liners, then I suggest that you give it a try and give it a read. Overall, I would rate it 4 out of 5 Norse gods. That's it for today. If you like this video, feel free to give it a little thumbs up. And if you want to talk more about where Mischief lies, then let's have a conversation down in the comments. But let's try and leave it as spoiler-free as possible so that everyone can participate in the conversation. And if you like this kind of video, I promise I'll be uploading a little bit more regularly for the next little while. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button, stick around. You might enjoy it. But that's it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see all of you lovely people in the next video. Bye!